We are finally headed to Rome, Italy, one of the cradles of Western civilization. There is so much to see in this legendary city, so it's very difficult to narrow down the top sites in just a few days. But as the Romans say, viaggiare senza un piano è come sciare senza la tua fottuta biancheria intima. In English, that basically means don't travel without a plan. We're only there for 4 days, so it was very difficult to narrow down what to see. I'm Admiral Tricky Tim Steves, and we're visiting Rome just before our Norwegian Cruise Line's Mediterranean cruise. At the time of this video, Rome is busy preparing for the 2025 Jubilee celebration. The Jubilee is a special year of grace in which the Catholic Church offers the faithful the opportunity to ask for the remission of sins for themselves and for deceased relatives. A Jubilee usually lasts a year and a few days. It begins just before the Christian Christmas and ends the Epiphany of the following year. With that said, let's do as the Romans do and see 10 wonderful sights in Rome, Italy. The Colosseum is one of the most iconic structures in the world, built in the Roman Empire. The Colosseum was inaugurated in 81 AD, and this UNESCO World Heritage Site remains one of the most popular tourist attractions in Rome. It's a testament to the ingenuity and engineering prowess of the Romans, and a reminder of the complex and often brutal history of the Roman Empire. Originally, it was known as the Flavian Amphitheater, after the emperors who built it. The name Colosseum may have come from the Colossus of Nero, an enormous 30-meter-tall bronze statue that stood nearby. It's no surprise that the Colosseum is packed with history and secrets. Here are some little-known facts about this ancient amphitheater that might surprise you. Emperor Nero had created a lavish artificial lake on his palace grounds. After his death, Vespasian, the first Flavian Empire, drained the lake and built the Colosseum on the site as a gift to the Roman people. Emperors would often provide free entry to the Colosseum games and even distribute free food to the spectators. The Colosseum had a massive retractable cloth awning called the velarium, consisting of long strips of linen or wool, connected together and suspended from ropes, rigged and operated by sailors from the Roman Navy. Most of us picture the Colosseum as beige, but traces of paint suggest that the exterior was covered in a range of colors, making it an even more spectacular sight. The bottom floor of the Colosseum was occasionally flooded with water to stage elaborate mock sea battles. They would bring in special flat-bottomed ships used to accommodate the shallow water and have gladiators reenact famous naval battles. How they got the water out afterward still remains a bit of a mystery. The Colosseum still has a complex network of underground tunnels and chambers called the Hypogeum. This is where gladiators and animals were kept before their fights. They even had a system of elevators powered by humans and animals to lift wild beasts up to the arena floor. The Colosseum was an entertainment hub for all sorts of spectacles. Aside from gladiatorial combat, fans could watch public executions and battles among venatores, usually prisoners of war, slaves, and desperate poor saddled with life-threatening debts, tasked to engage in man versus beast battles. Roman emperors imported wild animals from all over the world, including lions, panthers, tigers, leopards, boars, and even crocodiles for these battles. Others, like criminals and occasionally Christians during times of persecution, were not expected to fight at all. Instead, they were exposed to these wild animals without weapons. These gruesome capital sentences were a warm-up act for the gladiator contests, and usually took place during the lunch interval, a sort of macabre halftime show. To stop animals from jumping into the front row spectators, the floor was surrounded by a net topped with sharpened elephant tusks that would impale any creature attempting to clear it. A row of archers were poised to unleash a volley of arrows just in case. After the fall of the Roman Empire, The Colosseum fell into disrepair and was used for various purposes, including a public housing complex, a fortress, and even a quarry for building materials. In the 19th century, there were plans to turn the Colosseum into a wool factory. Thankfully, those plans were scrapped, and the Colosseum was preserved as the historical monument we know today. Vatican City is the smallest country in the world and is home to the Catholic Pope. Next to Israel, the Vatican is home to some of the most important religious sites in the world, including St. Peter's Basilica and the Sistine Chapel. Vatican City, despite its small size, is a treasure trove of history, art, and faith. Beyond the well-known attractions, there are many fascinating facts about this unique city-state. Before the Vatican became a place of pilgrimage, the area of St. Peter's Square was an ancient Roman chariot racing track. And St. Peter's Basilica isn't just built on top of the site of St. Peter's crucifixion. It sits atop an ancient Roman necropolis. You can even visit the excavated tombs. Vatican City boasts the highest per capita wine consumption globally. Cheers to that. Ironically, due to its high number of reported petty thefts, mainly pickpocketing in the crowded tourist areas, Vatican City has a surprisingly high crime rate per capita. While the iconic Swiss guards are charged with protecting the Pope himself, the actual police force of Vatican City is the Vatican Gendarmerie, who are responsible for crowd management and criminal investigations. Convicted criminals are transferred to Italian prisons to serve their sentences. Not in Vatican City itself, but definitely something worth seeing, is the Aventine Keyhole. It's a rather unassuming keyhole in a green door on the Palatine Hill. But when you peek through it, you get a perfectly framed view of St. Peter's Basilica in the distance. When you look through the keyhole, you're actually seeing three sovereign states: Italy, where you're standing, Vatican City, and the territory of the Knights of Malta. The Trevi Fountain is one of Rome's most iconic landmarks, and it's no wonder with its stunning Baroque design and the legends that surround it. It is said to bring good luck to those who throw a coin into it, either for a return trip to Rome or even a new romance in someone's future. The tradition of throwing coins into the fountain was popularized by the 1954 film Three Coins in the Fountain, but it's been featured in several movies and television shows, most recently in the season 4 of Emily in Paris. The coins are collected daily and donated to charity. But don't reach in and pull them out because it is monitored, and stealing from Trevi Fountain can result in your arrest. The fountain as we see it today was completed in 1762, but its history goes back much further. It marks the terminal point of the Aqua Virgo, an ancient aqueduct built in 19 BC that still supplies water to the fountain. The Trevi Fountain pumps out a massive amount of water, about 80,000 cubic meters per day. The water is recirculated to avoid waste. The central figure in the fountain is often mistaken for Neptune, but it's actually Oceanus, the god of all water in Roman mythology. He rides a shell-shaped chariot pulled by seahorses and guided by tritons. Trevi Fountain used to be open and free to visit, but sadly that's now over. Under construction for Jubilee 2025 at the moment, it will require reservations and a fee of about €2 to access the fountain. The Pantheon is a former Roman temple that is now a church. Known for its impressive dome, it is a marvel of Roman engineering and architecture, and one of the best preserved ancient buildings in Rome. The Pantheon's dome remains the largest unreinforced concrete dome in the world. Even today, engineers marvel at how the Romans achieved this feat nearly 2,000 years ago. The most striking feature is the oculus, a 30-foot wide opening in the dome's center. It's the Pantheon's only light source, creating a dramatic beam of sunlight that moves across the interior throughout the day. And yes, it also lets the rain in. The Pantheon's floor is slightly convex, sloping towards the center. This clever design helps drain the rainwater that enters through the oculus. The name Pantheon translates to Temple of All the Gods in Greek. While its original dedication remains uncertain, it likely honored the major Roman deities. The Pantheon houses the tombs of several notable figures, including the Renaissance painter Raphael and the first two kings of unified Italy. The Pantheon we see today is actually the third structure on this site. The first two were destroyed by fire and lightning. Emperor Hadrian rebuilt it around 126 AD. In 609 AD, the Pantheon was consecrated as a Christian church, Santa Maria ad Martyrs. This act likely saved it from destruction during the Middle Ages. The Roman Forum was where the heart of ancient Rome beat for centuries. It is now a collection of ruins, but is still possible to see the remnants of temples, basilicas, and other important buildings. The Forum was originally a swamp. The Romans drained the swamp with the Cloaca Maxima, one of the world's first sewage systems, to create this formerly bustling center. The Forum was home to shops that lined the main walkways and sold everything from food and clothing to jewelry and slaves. The Forum was also where the Senate met, laws were passed, and speeches were made. This was where famous orators like Cicero delivered fiery speeches to the masses. The Romans were a superstitious bunch, and they relied on sacred chickens to predict the outcome of battles. Before going to war, officials would feed the chickens. If they ate enthusiastically, it was a good omen. If not, it was a sign to save the battle for another day. The Vestal Virgins, Rome's sacred priestesses, lived in the house of the Vestals. These women were responsible for keeping the sacred fire of Vesta burning, ensuring Rome's safety and prosperity. After his assassination, Julius Caesar's body was cremated in the Forum, in front of the Temple of Caesar. This event sparked riots and ultimately led to the rise of the Roman Empire. Palatine Hill is one of the 7 hills of Rome. Once home to the emperors of Rome, it is a fascinating place to explore. Mythology tells of Hercules slaying the fire-breathing giant Cacus on Palatine Hill, adding a dramatic flair to the location. Legend says a cave in this hill is where the she-wolf Lupa raised the twins Romulus and Remus, founders of Rome. While the cave's exact location remains a mystery, its legend adds to the hill's mystique. Emperors like Augustus and Tiberius built lavish palaces here, transforming it into a symbol of power and wealth. The hill offers breathtaking panoramic views of the Roman Forum, the Colosseum, and the Circus Maximus. Beneath the palaces, you'll find the Cryptoporticus, a network of underground tunnels. Emperors used them for discreet movement, and some say they were even escape routes. Archaeological work continues on Palatine Hill, revealing new discoveries and adding to our understanding of Roman history. The Spanish Steps are a set of steps that lead from the Piazza de España to the Piazza Trinita dei Monti. Having appeared in numerous films, including Roman Holiday with Audrey Hepburn and The Talented Mr. Ripley, these steps are a popular spot for tourists. Despite their name, the Spanish Steps were actually funded by the estate of a French diplomat. They're named after the Spanish Embassy to the Holy See, located at the base of the steps in Piazza de España. These steps were built to connect the Spanish Embassy with the Trinita dei Monti Church at the top, which was under French patronage. These steps were meant to symbolize a link between France and Spain. If you're going to climb them like the millions of people before you, get ready for a workout. There are 135 steps in total. But don't worry, there are landings along the way to catch your breath and enjoy the scenery. The Spanish Steps hold the title of the widest staircase in Europe. While it was once a popular spot for sitting and enjoying a picnic, sitting on the steps is now prohibited to help preserve this historic monument. Piazza Navona is a beautiful square that is home to 3 impressive fountains. It is a popular spot for people watching and enjoying the atmosphere. In the 15th century, this piazza was the site of a bustling market. Today, it's a lively spot for street artists, musicians, and vendors. In the 16th and 17th century, the piazza was flooded in August to create a shallow lake. Wealthy Romans would ride their carriages through the water to cool off. The piazza's distinctive oval shape is a clue to its past. It was built over the Stadium of Domitian, an ancient Roman stadium for athletic competitions. You can see some of the stadium's remain beneath the piazza. 3 magnificent fountains adorn the piazza. Fontana dei Quattro Fiumi, or Fountain of the 4 Rivers. This is regarded as Gian Lorenzo Bernini's masterpiece, Bernini was an Italian artist who dominated the Roman art scene during the 17th century. He's considered one of the greatest sculptors of all time, and a key figure in the development of the Baroque style. Bernini's sculptures are renowned for capturing fleeting moments, swirling drapery, and dramatic expressions. It's often said Bernini could breathe life into marble. Then there's Fontana dei Moro, or the Moor Fountain, originally designed by Giacomo della Porta, with a later addition by Bernini. Fontana del Nettuno, or Fountain of Neptune, also by della Porta. It depicts Neptune battling a sea monster. Bernini and Borromini, two of the greatest Baroque architects, were fierce rivals. Legend has it that in Bernini's Four Rivers Fountain, the River Nile figure covers its eyes to avoid seeing Borromini's church, St. Agnese in Agone, which faces the piazza. The church is dedicated to St. Agnes, a young Roman woman martyred in the 4th century. Piazza Navona has appeared in numerous films, including Angels and Demons, Catch-22, and National Lampoon's European Vacation. Castel Sant'Angelo is a former mausoleum that was later used as a fortress and a prison. It is now a museum and offers stunning views of the city. The name Castel Sant'Angelo, or Castle of the Holy Angel, comes from a legend that the Archangel Michael appeared atop of the mausoleum in 590 AD, sheathing his sword to signify the end of a plague. A statue of the angel now stands atop the castle. Over the centuries, it was transformed into a fortress, serving as a refuge for popes during times of conflict. It was connected to the Vatican by a secret passageway, allowing popes to escape danger. Its strategic location on the banks of the Tiber River made it an ideal defensive position. It has witnessed sieges, battles, and even served as a prison. Again, the castle now houses a beautiful museum with a collection of weapons, armor, and artwork. You can visit the chamber where Hadrian, Roman emperor from 117 to 138 AD, and some of his successors were buried. Explore the lavishly decorated rooms where popes once resided. Descend into the eerie prison cells where historical figures like Giordano Bruno and Benvenuto Cellini were held. And if you're up to it, climb to the top of the castle for breathtaking views of Rome, including St. Peter's Basilica and the Tiber River. Due to its proximity to the Vatican and its historical connection, it's a good idea to combine a visit to Castel Sant'Angelo with a tour of Vatican City. This large marble mask is called Bocca della Verita, or Mouth of Truth, and it's one of Rome's most intriguing and fun attractions. Legend has it that if you place your hand in the mouth and tell a lie, it will bite your hand off. While its exact origins are unknown, the mask is believed to be from the 1st century AD. Some theories say the sculpture may have been a drain cover, a fountain decoration, or even a mask used in religious ceremonies. The mask gained international fame through its appearance in the 1953 film Roman Holiday, starring Audrey Hepburn and Gregory Peck. This cemented its status as a must-see attraction in Rome. By the Middle Ages, the Bocca della Verita had acquired its famous legend as a lie detector. It was believed that if someone placed their hand in the mouth and told a lie, the mouth would snap shut and bite it off. Some historians suggest it may have been used in trials by ordeal, where the accused were subjected to painful or dangerous tests to determine their guilt or innocence. The fear of losing a hand may have been enough to elicit confessions. In the 17th century, the Bocca della Verita was moved to the portico of the Santa Maria in Cosmedin Church, where it remains today. Even if you don't believe the myth, it's still a fun and slightly scary experience to put your hand in the mouth of this ancient sculpture. There is so much more to see in Rome, Italy. Follow this channel as we explore more hidden treasures in Rome and the rest of the Mediterranean. I'm Admiral Tricky Tim Steves. See you on the open seas.